Alright, I'm going to keep this short because I don't have a lot of disk space to save videos. I just wanted to rerun Gmodism's small liner test with a slight difference to minimize the effect of a confounding variable. He built his testbed with each armor slice being 4 meters wide. The problem that this introduces is that since you can't center the shot in the left-right axis, the heavy armor separators he added in his test affect the outcome by providing bonus armor to the beam slopes in the spell catcher. See, let's do this on the other side, actually, over here. If a spell spawns from this block here, for instance, and it goes in this direction, the direction I've got my camera facing, what happens? You can see now that the armor plate behind it is, in fact, behind it to some degree, and the game actually accounts for that. It takes the angle that a shot comes in at and figures out how much armor bonus it should get from what blocks would be behind it, which would be these 3 to one degree or another, which means that it's getting bonus armor from this armor plate here. And this caused some anomalous results in Gmodism's testing, specifically in the rightmost section here, where he was testing the effect of heavy armor as a spawn liner. And the reason for that is that he did not have a wall on this side, this separator here. He had them between the two middle sections, or between the middle section and the two edge sections actually, but not on the ends, which means that for this section, for instance, where the shot was coming in closer to the right side than the left side, spalls coming in this direction would be facing bonus armor from this. But from this section, spalls coming in from here were not facing any bonus armor at all if they hit on this end. So now the disclaimer, I have the Mega Slopes Pack mod installed, and which gives us 5 meter beams, as you can see here, and also 5 meter beam slopes. And I've rebuilt his testbed in 2 ways. They look identical, but I've done one with 5 meters blocks, as you can see here, and on this side I've done it with 1 meter blocks, and also 1 meter beams, or both slopes. And the thing is that these all have different HP values. As you can see here, a single block has 350 health, and a metal beam, a 4 meter beam, has 1680. That's more than 4 of these by a little bit, so this gets a bonus for being bigger. The 5 meter beam has even more, and ideally we would want to do this with blocks that have the same HP as those 4 meter beams that Gmodism was using, but we can't, because this needs to be 5 wide, which means that we could do that up here. It doesn't matter as much how tall this is, although I have actually built it 5 meters tall, so that this becomes a perfect square centered on the impact point. But we wouldn't be able to build this with 4 meter beam slopes unless we turned them on their side, and we could do that, but that would change the angles and things would be different. I just felt it was better to do it this way. And on this side I've done it with the 1 meter blocks, like I said, 1 by 1s. These will have much lower HP, so when we test against this, we have to do it with a lower caliber shot, or it's just going to go all the way through. Anyway, all that said, let's test it against the 5 meter blocks, which I've already got over here. here we can see we lost one spall here against the separator. And it looks like we lost one here against the separator, which means that this beam was probably already dead when that hit. So we've got spalls hitting here, and yeah, we've got, we did not, oh we, no, yes, we lost 2 internals. 1 block is missing, and 4 of the beam slopes in the catcher. This lost all of the beam slopes in the catcher, and 1 beam, but no internals. And it looks like the wall caught 1, maybe as many as 3 spalls. Whereas here, the wall caught 1, 2, 3 spalls as well. So that was about equal. This did exactly, and that's good. The distribution of spalls was about the same. And as you can see, when that's the case, the heavy armor does more damage. Over here, we have very little damage, of course. 2 beam slopes lost and 1 block behind, which, if you look here, is due to the beam slope already being killed by the upper impact there when this spall came through and hit. Or actually, no, they hit the same beam slope. The trail behind this one means that it hit the beam slope, but it continued on, and it hit the beam behind it. It had already been weakened by the first impact there. And none of the internals here were damaged, so this is minimal damage. It's what we would expect. Alright, so let me redo this with the other test bed, with the single 1 meter by 1 meter block. Okay, so now we're going to test this real fast against these. These are the 1x1s. Let's try it. As you can see, the 500 millimeter just destroys this poor thing. And actually, it's still a pretty decent test, surprisingly enough. You can see here, it's kind of interesting. The thump damage did not spread as much as it did here and here. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the armor on the back, but it might. Regardless, what we've got here is a lot of internal damage, whereas here we have only a little bit of internal damage. Or do we have any internal damage? We have no internal damage, almost penetrated through. And over here we have actually, yeah, no internal damage again. So this is about what we'd expect. The wood didn't really do much, and we can look at the can we not? No, not in build mode. I don't know how we do it. Okay, here we go. This did 21 AP as we'd expect, and of course these are as expected, 21, 40, and 52. This did very little. This did very little as well. It's probably just a matter of this falling scatter being, you know, that's the confounding variable that we can't account for. Is the distribution of these rays is random, and sometimes you could have many hit in a single place and that will get through. There's just random chance, but this is consistent with what we'd expect. I'm going to repair it, and I'm going to going to repair this anyway, and try again. Obviously, with the damage debugging cleared, and we're going to do that with a 200mm rail shot instead of maximum 500mm. And we will see how this works out. Okay, so again, this has done a fair amount, looks like a fair amount of damage to the, the small catcher. The slope blocks we've lost at least 2, maybe 3. Let's see. Easier to control the camera in build mode. Yeah, we got 2 slopes lost here. 1 here, plus the backing block, and we lost 2 of our internals. Wait, maybe 3. No. It looked like, no, that's just the gap in between these is normal. Okay. Sorry, I was confused by the block shape. So yeah, we lost 1, 2 of our internals. And now if we go over to the metal, we've got 1, 2, 3 slopes, 1 backing block there, and 1 backing block here. None of the internals are damaged. Over here, with the wood, as expected, we will probably have very little damage. We've lost 1 slope block there, and 2 slope blocks, and none of the backing blocks of the small catcher. So, as you can see, the wood does work. That's what we, the Gmodism's conclusions were probably correct anyway, but you can see that the heavy armor does more damage than the metal. It's just a little bit more consistent, that's all.